There's a kind of starvation that doesn't show up on any scale. You can be well-fed, well-housed, surrounded by people, and still feel it. A low ache that no amount of Netflix, emails, or double-shot lattes seems to touch. That foggy sense that you're living, but you're not quite alive. I call it consciousness starvation. It sounds dramatic, I know, but I think you've felt it. It's the feeling of sitting at an all-you-can-eat buffet and somehow leaving hungry. Not for more chips or more cheesecake, but for something that actually feeds you. We live in a world stuffed with food, apps, and entertainment, and yet half the time we still feel empty. So let me name what's going on, because naming it is where this all starts. Most of us think starvation is about empty plates and empty stomachs, the kind of hunger that gnaws at your ribs and keeps you awake. But there's another hunger that's just as real and just as damaging. The only difference is that this one is invisible. We're not starving for food. We're starving for recognition, for presence, for moments that actually feed something deeper. And the reason it's dangerous is that it's subtle. It hides underneath routines we've all quietly normalized. The endless scroll through feeds that leave you emptier than when you picked up the phone. The conversations where everyone nods along but nobody really listens. That restless sense that something is missing even when you've ticked every box of what's supposed to make you happy. It's like sitting at a banquet covered in dishes, none of which have the one nutrient you actually need. So you eat more, buy more, chase more, and the hunger never goes anywhere. And here's the part that really gets me. Most of us have learnt to call this normal. We say things like, "That's just life. Everyone's stressed," as if numbness is simply the price of being alive in the 21st century. But deep down, you know it isn't. Because you've had the flashes. The times someone truly saw you, the moments you lost yourself in laughter. The pause that lasted long enough for you to actually hear the world breathe back at you. That's nourishment. That's what we're built for. The trouble is that those moments have become rare, and the rarer they get, the more desperate we become to fill the gap. So we stuff ourselves with noise. A quick hit of validation, a new gadget, a promotion. None of it satisfies. Here's the truth most of us would rather not admit. The world isn't starving us. We're starving ourselves by accepting less than what we need. We let busyness win. We hand our presence over to machines. We call surface-level chatter connection when underneath we're craving something simpler. To be seen, not just as someone who does things, but as someone who is. And this kind of starvation doesn't only make us tired, it changes how we show up. When we're starved, we snap more quickly. We numb ourselves more easily. We drift a little further from who we actually are. That's why I'm doing this at all, not to wag a finger at anyone, because I'm as guilty of late-night doom scrolling as the next person. I just want to point at the thing in the middle of the room and say, "See that?" That's the reason we feel so hungry. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you can finally start doing something about it. This is the crisis. But it's also the very beginning of the cure. Now, if the first move is naming the hunger, the next is naming the tricks we use to pretend we're full. Picture a long day. You're tired, and instead of cooking a proper meal, you grab a packet of crisps. For a moment, the salt and the crunch do the job. You feel satisfied. Half an hour later, your stomach's growling again. That's the illusion of fullness. And we don't only do it with food. We do it with our whole lives. We stuff ourselves with distractions. Notifications pinging like slot machines. The endless race to achieve a bit more. The numbing comfort of binging one more episode or scrolling until your thumb aches. For a second, these things trick us into thinking we're satisfied. They hand us the dopamine, the quick fix, but they never touch the real hunger underneath, which is the hunger for connection, for meaning, for recognition. It's like drinking seawater. It looks like the thing you need, and yet the more you swallow, the thirstier you get. And here's where it turns cruel. The world actively sells us the illusion. Whole industries are built on it. Social platforms are designed to keep you grazing and never nourished. Adverts whisper that the next thing, the new phone, the right shoes, the perfect holiday, will finally make you feel whole. But wholeness was never waiting in the checkout basket. The more we lean on these illusions, the more out of touch we get with the real signals of hunger inside us. We stop asking the honest questions. Am I actually being seen here? Does this bring me alive? Do I feel nourished after this, or just emptier? And when we stop asking, we settle for less and less. We keep lowering the bar until numbness starts to feel like the normal setting. But this is the turning point. Once you can recognize the illusion, you can stop falling for it. You can start asking one simple thing of everything you reach for. Does this actually feed me, or does it just fill me? That question is a doorway. It won't solve the whole crisis overnight. What it does is crack open the trance, and once you're awake even a little, you'll notice yourself hungering for something real again. Because deep down, I think we all know it. Life was never meant to be survived on snacks. It's meant to be feasted on.